Yes. Hello. Nice. No, you have a good day night. See you later. Sorry if it's quiet. Mm, it's,
Omnipod 5 is the only tubeless automated insulin delivery system on the market.
So I think the most important thing about all of this is the fact that we can find avocado is simple, no more, and what we have to do as well, Nicholas. And one of these lessons for avocado, well, Nicholas is brand new podcast, which he is incredibly valuable, like a regular normal, not the guy for the last 2 years, or the guy who bought the journal records, just a regular dude. But just like regularity, there are a lot of things sitting around this podcast which I think would be very interesting for you guys today. When I had them, I was kind of surprised and shocked at how much it was moved forward. So today's video, what I'm doing is I'm going to just bring this entire podcast, break it down, what I genuinely think on, well, absolutely everything. Because of course, you guys know I was, previously made to look a little foolish after doing a massive video documenting everything to do with Ricardo avocado. And yes, throughout this video, you are going to experience the usual seasoning of Copium, but also, I think it's very clear that I have still very invested in the story of Ricardo avocado. And this podcast is really good. It's that interest, because some of the videos after the video, a lot of people come to think I think about it it's very not two separate entities. But this podcast really goes into this nuance. It's very fascinating. So, because Ricardo was, as far as I can, but it also teaches me the fact that a lot of people recently don't overuse the story of analyzing the fact that, well, a lot of criticism is not necessarily because it's great. Actually, it's a lot of valid criticisms. And people are understandably right now that this was going about these narratives and due to the fact that Ricardo simply lost weight. Now, we're going to get into all of that, but I think at this time, just get into everything. And of course, just like the typical Ricardo avocado fashion, the video starts with Brian. I don't know why it's crying. This is great. Come here. yeah, so something a lot of needed right now is definitely, yet again, another white foot starting yet again. Another podcast. And that is exactly why Eastern started over the world, which is a podcast where we speak about one of the things which is growing right now, which is we've spoken about. For example, our next episode is talking about Apple, diving into all of the drama and stuff surrounding that. So yeah, if you want to go and subscribe, please go and do so. Please subscription. But we're going to go from that. Yes, the actual beginning of this podcast really kind of introduces this whole reality that all of us have. Because of course, as I mentioned earlier, when Nick lost weight, he was presenting himself in this incredibly glorious, smoky way. Look at me, I'm the Joker. I'm definitely not an insane individual in this podcast. It's not that whatsoever, and it's very clear that Nick almost has multiple characters. He has this, which is Ricardo Avocado, and then he has Rachel Ricardo Avocado, and then, as I said, he has Nicholas Perry, which I don't think is going to be the most fancy version of Nick. I don't think that this guy is necessarily going to get the views that he was getting previously. But honestly, I don't think that necessarily matters here, because it's very clear that Nick is in a much more mental, insane place right now. And look, I don't care what anyone says about the whole master plan thing. There is no way that you would think that it is not slightly insane. And look, if it really was this big master plan set out over a 2-year period, the MCU, you've got different movie here, and there's some TV shows coming out here, that's great, right? Maybe some love to know the plan behind the thing. A little bit of where this arsehole, this actual rectum, is just scrolled out all over the social media timeline. I would really like to know what was the thought process behind that plan. Is that going to get a Disney Plus series? Because, again, I don't think that's really comfy. I will get into the movie later on, but I don't think this movie suggests that anything isn't exactly a master plan. But if we get into the next section of the podcast, it basically goes into the fact that this is what he wants to do. He doesn't really want to be the old character that he's playing in all of his videos, and this is just him. And honestly, that's pretty interesting to hear. With the next episode of the last decades, he's going to chill and just talk. And people are excited to see space, not really sure. And I'm always asking for it forever, and I did a little bit of a try. It was a worst time.
It's weird because I really like this whole time.
We talk all the time. Now, whilst I did want a bit of a rant before, like, people stating that this was really a good master plan, admittedly, I have actually heard from people in the past, and friends that I have now, that they've spoken to people that know those rules, and they've basically stated that this book right here is like honest. Even when he's, going through all the ridiculous things he's going through over the years, I have heard that Ricardo is like a big superhero behind the scenes, and honestly, that doesn't exactly shock me, and I don't really view my music video when I actually said that Ricardo is looking like he is the camera. In fact, a large section of that video was basically saying I'm going to kind of avoid the chapters of this whole greater just for adventure, controlling, and dating in the name of getting money. For example, a big section where people on a channel people forward, and they pretty much just break into a maximum extent or fight each other until break up and shoot all of that good stuff. And I remember in my video saying that, I mean, this is very obviously a sub-genre content thing. This is something he knows will get views. This is where I'm going to go with a little bit of focus. Because, again, I don't necessarily think this was all a master plan. I think that may have been things over the years. I think he really acknowledged that certain things get views on his channel, and he definitely played into those things. And eventually, it did become and kind of reacted to it. And something we're going to go about this next section of the podcast is basically this almost like how people know about this, basically it's done through experience. And yes, I definitely think that there were people out there that genuinely did believe that everything we've seen on the last years was absolutely 100% real. And honestly, even with research my big video, I remember sitting there thinking, wow, am I going to get hate for saying that most of this is fake? Because yeah, it definitely was a big movie back of everything. But at the same time, that doesn't necessarily indicate that this was all a master plan. Was it a master plan to get outright exposed by Stephanie Sue and multiple individuals and with them repeated by the internet for quite a long time? Because this is something also I think is kind of interesting that Nick was right in the movie everyone just kind of came to this belief that Nick Harder was ahead of the roads, which the reality is that's not true whatsoever. Nick Harder was aging 48 months about it. So our videos now actually goes back to the past and look at those reasons. I mean, again, it's gonna sound like a joke, but that was what my whole big video was really about. It was very horrible for me. And a little bit of a historical analysis of some of the things, what moves and what some of the very genuine things. It's beautiful Trisha Paytas, it's beautiful Stephanie Sue, it's beautiful with Sacha and Troy. And I don't think any of that is necessarily redundant because we lost weight. And something that I've noticed quite interestingly is people are willing to do that. Like I've seen videos of people just, pointing that out. They said, well, we're losing weight. Yes, I clearly was that plan in the back of it. Quite a few videos that generally lose and they super lost weight behind the scenes. I'm not going to tell you how to weight for the point. That is genuine. Because Nick was also, yes, definitely over 40 weight, but I don't think he was mainly into the back. So it's kind of like a whole thing that requires, yet sadly on YouTube, people really can't have much nuance is what I've discovered with this situation recently. I spoke about it in my podcast, but I basically spoke about the fact that there is a lot of information about this.
Sorry if it's very quiet. I'm just very focused on my drawing. Hello.
I think that is a very, very valid reason to criticize, but also this is friendship and like looking forward. Why was Mr. Bean so consistent with friends and business partners with a guy who was ruined for life with individuals out there buying cryptocurrency? But not internet partner afterwards somebody says, yes, some things are fake and some things
No,
are
nice.
so I think for those people don't it wasn't just speechless that some things, but when you're covering very serious things, sometimes take a little crap. Yes, still make an opinion, but that doesn't mean you say this bad guy was all with the bad things are true. Even the more serious topic like James Charles, I remember covering it and saying there are very serious allegations against this guy that definitely true. Yet at the same time, there are also big allegations and
Go on. Hello. That's okay. Hello. Thank you.
it's just something that I tested the right water. But again, in terms of thinking about that, what's interesting is something else in this podcast also show us because in a second when we speak about these eating habits before we got interested in social media, and it does indicate that regardless of how and what we do in 2024, it's always going to have a bigger role. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be about, again, it definitely shows that the black man
Alright, I'm right back after our drink. shit. I gotta go do some other things while I was away. What do you guys think it's too bored without me?
Exploiting your own health and jeopardizing your health in the pursuit of views and monetization. Because a big critique Nick has faced over the years is the fact that he would, yes, exploit his health. He would put on a large amount of weight, even if he was doing it deliberately, all in the name of making money. And this was very, very worrying. And as you're going to discover in this podcast, Nick actually does explain that there are long-lasting effects of this weight gain. And this is why I don't think a lot of the criticism is redundant, regardless of if he lost weight or he didn't lose weight. Because there are lifelong effects to gaining a large amount of weight. No TikToker is going to convince me otherwise that being 400 pounds when you're like 5'10" is a good thing. And the thing is I think people at that weight, at that height, will acknowledge that yes, they're the ones that know it more than anyone. This is not a healthy thing regardless of what anyone says, and it's weird that we now live in this culture where you get a lot of skinny people trying to, I guess, be that one friend who's a bit too woke, and where they're like, oh no guys, it's absolutely fine, when you have people that are very heavyweight being like, no, this isn't fine. There are reasons they got to that way, and that's completely understandable, but the health aspect is not fine. As somebody that was, at one point, this might shock you, I was 350 pounds in weight, and I still, despite losing a lot of that weight, deal with long-lasting health effects which sadly may affect me for the rest of my life. So I can sit here and tell you this is not a good thing. Exploiting your health in the name of views is not good, and we should continue to criticize that style of content, and I will criticize Ricardo to this day for popularizing that genre of content and almost normalizing it. Because sadly, there are plenty of content creators out there to this day that know that weight gain related content is something that gets views, and they are going to put their health at risk consistently just to get money.
Okay.
No grandmaster plan really reduces that, makes that redundant. And again, if you used to think that and now you no longer think that because Nick lost weight, what's really changed there? Are you just perceiving him to now be a good person because he's skinny, but you didn't think he was a good person when he was a larger weight? Because to me personally, that's actually a pretty messed up thing to do. But then that does lead us into the section between the 13th minute and the 21st minute, where Nick and his co-host pretty much discuss everything to do with his weight loss and how they fooled the internet.
And people too, along with that, she gets the funniest comments on her podcast, but someone said as well, oh, this isn't even Nick Ocado, he's like edited into this.
And I'm like, so you think of we're all having a conversation.
The same conversation.
That's not there. We're staring at somebody who's not there.
That conversation.
We're envisioning your replies.
Yes.
Why are people so...
And I was talking to a really good friend of mine back from school, and she was like, how did you like pull off what you did where people thought you were like mentally crazy and just like, I thought I would be like, it's just water weight, which I thought people knew I was joking, but people that you are delusional, you need to count calories, you need more protein, you have low IQ.
Hi,
You have
thank
a
you.
low IQ or they have
Well, now it's very clearly they do. But they're like, how did you get away with it? And I'm like, here's a prime example. It's like people.
Test Rub is a scam. I only made $81. Okay.
Like, how did you get away with it? And I'm like, here's a prime example. It's like people just over their head. I try to be mean, but it's just like,
I know.
It's over their heads.
I know. I thought it was very obvious that it was an act, but you did not.
Well, you knew me too. But
Well, yeah,
still,
every half like
it's common sense.
I'm not being mean either.
I mean, okay.
I'm being genuine.
Again, I think the problem here comes down to what I've been speaking about previously throughout all of this video. I think a lot of the world did know what Nick was doing was absolutely fake. But yes, there was a lot of bad criticism out there about Nick Ocado. One of the most viewed videos about Nick Ocado is Penguin Zero Critical speaking about how Nick is
jeopardizing his health in neighborhood use. And in that video, Charlie pretty much admits that yes, all of this is fake, but at the same time, Nick is still putting himself in an incredibly vulnerable position. And no amount of faking changes that. At the end of the day, Nick still gained a large amount of weight. And as I said earlier, we're going to discover that are lasting effects of that. So no, I don't necessarily think the entire world is done. Yes, some are believing everything. But at the end of the day, I think there is still a lot of criticism of Nick Ricardo, and I think a lot of the criticism made over the years is still absolutely stands. So now, first they move into speaking about the headings that Nick actually received for a lot of the content that he posted. I got honestly.
Hello.
Okay, that's what we're about. It's true. I'm like, okay, are they grabbing hammers and knives? No.
That's fine. Stay as long as you can.
Grabbing a cake, a soft cake, and he didn't hit like push back like no, whip it up, take it like he used to think.
Which people do that on their wedding day, so is that anything? People do that on the wedding day and like they shove cake in their face. Like
The difference is he was calling me ugly, but some
I know.
brides probably get called ugly too on their
sad. That was horrible.
Now, yeah, the big criticism out there acknowledging here is over the years, a lot of people out there have spoken about Ricardo and his partner with his relationship, where a lot of people have basically said that the actions that Nick put towards Orwin were pretty much abusive. People suggested that Nick was very, very horrible to Orwin. They were fighting constantly, and people genuinely did believe that. And honestly, that is something which I completely disagree with. And again, it comes into a whole nuanced thing. Some things can be ridiculous, some things can be real valid criticisms. And unfortunately, yes, there were people out there, quite a few people out there, that genuinely believe that people of the age and those relationship issues were absolutely real. Now, I do think that over the years there may or may not have been some valid issues that they had between each other, and vaguely exploited some of that over the internet to be early years. I guess we'll really never know the truth on that.
Vanilla pink is a mess my home. Never far away from home. Past is never known. Please, oh yeah. Alright, bye. Thank you. Love the cards.
What's going on here is just a bit of a pantomime, and it's just something that you can show a kid, and yeah, they'd probably find it really funny, to be honest with you. So no, I don't think that Nick Ricardo should be criticised for that, and honestly, I feel like it's probably one of the clownest things that he actually ever did on his channel. But with that, let's move on. But anyways, back to what I was trying to say. I like, you really think if this was Nick's in trouble, World's in trouble, they're not getting along, this is so violent, a cake, or salad. He took removing parts, ripped it up, shredded, and said, "You're too fat. You're too fat." That is fat. I think it's people that might get called fat, and then maybe, or they are fat, not sure they're fat. They're just getting like, oh, I feel like those. My ex used to call me fat, and I'm all upset.
Yeah.
Maybe okay, but people thought like we were really going at it, or we had a bad marriage, or like they needed to go away, and someone used to call the police, and I would act out like I was calling the police. The police. Again, this is just more of a people on the internet are absolutely silly. At the same time, there was a lot of people emphasized a relationship massively on the internet, and you know,
How could I hurt
absolutely
you?
stupid. So I don't really completely understand the frustration that Nick has here, because at the end of the day, he never really said everything that he does is a pantomime, it's fake until recently. So obviously you are going to have a few gummies out there that see the things he's posting and absolutely again, that doesn't necessarily mean they're just their actions, but at the same time, I don't
The world is seeing my son and wife.
believing everything
Just a
channel because
man.
they just simply trusted you.
And as an internet content creator, every content creator knows that audiences can be a little bit
To become media, and to become a place. Does a man become a monster? And will become the title. The reason become the blame. When does a man become monster? Become media. Does a man become blame? Does a man become a monster?
Well, I was doing a historical analysis on everything to do with Nick Avocado, and Nick made Orwin a big part of his content. Now, they do want to speak more about the hate and criticism that Nick received over the years, and yeah, in particular to do with his relationship with Orwin. But something that I noticed during all of this is that they don't really acknowledge any of the real bad criticism made towards Nick. Instead, they like to be like, oh, it was all theatrics, oh, we were just playing characters, you guys should have really acknowledged that. But again, I don't think that's fair in terms of a lot of the reasons why Nick received a large amount of criticism. And again, the Stephanie Sue and Zach Troy stuff, that can't be avoided by saying, oh, Nick was playing a character. And the same goes for a lot of other criticism that expose made against Nick.
Because waiting, just waiting, he's waiting for me. Supposed to be
Yeah, you're there for their entertainment too. You're not being storm out of
I think I'm wondering if they're acting out rules that I'm not allowed to see here. It's not necessarily bad. They're not upset by it. But so why is it okay for actors to talk about these people's money? It's bad. It's not okay for social media.
I think that's the problem. I think people
They think it has to be real from the iPhone.
yes, and they like whatever people see online, it's real. And I think that's what people love YouTube is like it feels like real people that are watching like reality shows. It's why reality shows are so popular because you feel like I think it's real. But like the actors,
second in command.
they especially
Full speed ahead.
like sometimes they fake something.
Tears
I feel like people
in the distance. I see an island. See light the faintly close. And people in fire. It's some food.
What I did wasn't that special. I mean, he added the further zoomed in.
yeah.
Wow, no, it's really done this, which I don't think it
Let's make the place and
They haven't like
gear up.
became a whole character themselves.
And the way
You and I go ahead.
I mean, I'm
No one's up dead. Know what's ahead till sunrise. We don't return. Makes his whole face burn. Full speed ahead. Full speed ahead. Full speed ahead.
Yes, he's actually kind of right. He said, obviously, it's not perfectly a deal, but I think it very much does paint over everything to why Nick has received so much attention over the years. Again, it's not just the fact that he lost weight that people are so obsessed with him. People are obsessed with him for all of the bad reasons that we've gone over today. There are plenty of other reasons out there, and I don't really understand the
You're getting nervous. Do yourself a service. Try to relax, my friend.
Let's not just pretend that history isn't what it was. Let's
All that we have been through, like what we get into. You're tired of the war and bloodshed. This is how we're supposed to live. You're so enough said. You take what we should give. The person that you trust them. Clapping lower your guards. Get yourself adjustment. Why it's not that hard for you. This life is amazing. You've come up in arms.
situations.
to a place where he's had a side. Well, with open arms, get the word with open arms.
But when Nick actually goes on to run the heaviest he ever got to, and it really was quite a lot, and it only really contributes to why so many people out there were worried. Ginormous pounds. That's not good.
That's me. You and a pregnant.
We're pregnant. That's unedited. I didn't even stretch me out. That was around the time I quit. I must have hit 400 or something.
That's crazy. I don't even recognize it, to be honest.
Now, some people out there may say, well, why does this really matter? Well, to me personally, based on everything we've heard, Nick Avocado absolutely risked his own life and health for content. I mean, in certain sections of this podcast, they're literally making jokes about the fact that Nick Avocado was basically like lucky to not have a heart attack. That's the opinion I got from being like, oh yeah, I didn't actually have a heart attack. It's like, what? You were actually like in like a risky spot having a heart attack.
We had like reunions as I got better and better. Like 2 years goes by, it's here, Carly's here. 2 years goes by. Surprisingly, still here. Hasn't died. Art hasn't stopped.
Is that not concerning? Is that not worrying? Is that not concerning that the genre that he's popularized is still a big one on YouTube? And again, I think that is all very valid criticism that isn't just defended by, oh, I lost weight and oh, it was all a big master plan character act. I'm not personally offended by Nick's weight or what it is now or what it was before, but I think what he did was very worrying, and it is worrying that this behavior is kind of being normalized on YouTube to this day. Ruining your health for the sake of news and money. And the worst part is I can see why people do that. I can see that people would clearly see that Nick was getting millions and millions of views. He's very rich, as he acknowledges in this podcast, and I can understand why a lot of people would think to themselves, oh, I'm going to just repeat what he did. I'm going to gain 300 pounds and I'm going to lose all that weight and become an internet sensation overnight. And it's like, no, you're not. Because Nick Avocado is a very individual. Not every single person is going to be, and as much as you may not agree with me, as entertaining as Nick Avocado, Nick Avocado sacrificed all forms of shame and just basically became a walking entertainment piece on the internet. He was not afraid to do anything if he knew he could get views and money. But not everybody can do that, and not everybody can lose their weight. And even if they could, they would also be dealing with long-lasting health effects for the rest of their life, no matter if they should And this does bring us into the next section.
Talent, best of skill, magic boy, only the best could do.
I know I just listened to TikTok where I was like,
And for the thrill, I whose mind rivaled the poor's own will. Maybe one day will follow me to make a Jason Todd.
that's what I still It's weird.
Yeah, isn't that like body dysmorphia? Like when you
Well, but I've had body dysmorphia. I've never had
That
body
mind.
And I don't even know how to tell the difference. Like, is that a thing?
well, because I think you can even have it in like stages. Because when I was pregnant, I was like, oh, I'm not even that big. Because you see yourself slowly get
Oh,
bigger, so it's like
I'm drawing Jason Todd.
it doesn't see that you're all of a sudden so much bigger.
Yeah.
And so like when that happened to me and I was pregnant, I was like, oh, I'm not even that big. And then now that I'm looking back at when I was pregnant, I'm like, wait, I was pretty huge.
Yeah.
But because it's slowly happening and you're slowly losing weight, I feel like it doesn't.
That's a very good way.
We almost don't notice it.
We don't notice that you're getting big, and then you're like, wow, I'm fat. And you don't notice yourself losing weight, and you're like, but I'm still fat. Like you haven't caught up.
Yeah, it's like your brain is still like a year behind.
Gosh, yeah, I like look at the camera and I'm like, oh my god, I'm years gone. Like it's almost, we're done. It's like, there's no more way to do this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In my head, sometimes for me,
And the shade queen of strategies we've seen. Looking for a mentor, I'll make sure your chance will spend. The plan, man, best friends.
Anyway, but sadly, this is a very common side effect of losing weight. A lot of people out there do
experience. As you can see here, someone that is typically called back-to-back syndrome, and a very healthy, very large amount of people sadly unfully twins. And this again plays into the whole thing of it was a big master plan. It's like, no, I don't think it was a big grand master plan to deal with very significant mental health issues that can last a very, very long time. Some
That's nice. I mean, I need to get. Well, I'm happy when like people stumble across my streams. It's like I'm no longer shadow banned.
But we can't just say that and ignore the fact that there are significant
I don't have many,
issues
but
of gaining a lot of weight in the sake of making content
oh,
and
well.
then losing that in the sake of making content.
I make more video videos than lives, Daddy.
Right here. So no, I don't think this is all exactly a big, positive, amazing story. And despite what Nick was saying about his happiness before he lost weight, it's very clear that his weight was sadly affecting him in his private life. And that doesn't mean he was sad and depressed, but it means that it was definitely impacting him. And if you're someone that's thinking about gaining a load of weight in the sake of making YouTube content and getting all that moolah, just listen to what Nick has to say here. I haven't been doing that.
Well, part of the reason was my weight in last week.
Could you fit in the paper seats?
You know, now that you say that, probably not because I couldn't fit in the airplane seats. I was forced to buy first class. Not because I was like, oh, I'm so much better.
Choice.
No, even with the seatbelt extender, it had nothing to do with the seat, like the belly, it was like the width. I couldn't fit down in between the arms. But some arms don't go upward planes.
Yeah, that's true.
They just don't go up, so they're just
Especially if I think it's
Stuck.
at the end.
Obviously, we can naturally have a conversation about the fact that, yes, this is equally unfair. This is unfair that airport seats very much are just built to cater to skinny people out there, and they don't cater to people of all shapes and sizes. That is a very, very bad criticism that we should acknowledge, but we should also acknowledge the fact that this is sadly a side effect of what happens when you gain this amount of weight. It doesn't necessarily make you right, it absolutely doesn't, but sadly, it's our things that do.
Take, you came to my home to steal. Now you come my meal. You see, from you like you took me. Been a misunderstanding. We're here to steal. We see we've done some damage. You and I can make a deal. Let's leave you find his treasures. Long leave alive. Leave the world's best tasting wine. There's a drink. I think you'll understand the power that's in your hands.
This brings me into something that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. I am curious at how this will go for Ricardo. Because ultimately, the main thing Nick has been known that for over the years has been drama. If you think Ricardo Avocado, you think throwing spaghetti and food at his partner, getting into people like Stephanie Sue, Zach Joy, and plenty of other individuals out there. Nick Ricardo is known as the guy that screams and cries and embarrasses himself on camera as ridiculous things in the name of gaining attention. And if he suddenly stops doing that like he has, well, how will that go for him? Well, sadly, clearly, not exactly too well. As you can see from his recent uploads here, the views are not as good in comparison to when he's being outrageous on camera. And some people may say to me, oh, well, you cover drama and you get views for that, and if you stop doing that, then you wouldn't get as many views. Yeah, I completely agree with you. When you're known for a certain niche on the internet and you get an audience for that niche, if you suddenly stop catering to that niche, you switch up everything, your views are going to go down as you
Please,
Now,
bleach.
I started making a video saying about my favorite Pokemon games. Yes, that was really fun, and I kind of actually want to do it on the second channel. But if I did that on the main channel, the views would be absolutely terrible in comparison to the views that I get on average.
Run down.
Currently,
goes. Because I play.
I still have to survive. These 100 lines say there's one life to take. We kill him, then our journey's over.
The era where things are shoved into his mouth and being outrageous on camera. And that is very fascinating and brings me to the conclusion, which honestly is just going to be a question of, well, was this really all a big master plan? I personally don't think so, but I'm sure a lot of you out there definitely do think so, and I would love to see what you guys think down below, so please let me know in the comment section. But when things like that, so exposing it exactly Troy exposing people being outright concerned for very bad reasons about Nick's health. I just refuse to believe this was a meticulously planned plan.
Well, thank you.
As we see in this podcast, that have long-lasting effects, and for everything to plan to as we discovered, Nick was eating around 5,000 calories a meal. And I think we just discovered that weight gain is something that goes really well into simple planned into it. So again, we learned today that in this video, once again, not everything is real, not everything is fake, not everything is a master plan. The master plan, in my opinion, was fighting the fact that we lost weight so long. That absolutely did not lose a lot of people out there, and it did that lose on me. But at the end of the day, regardless of everything,
Yes.
Ricardo Avogado is pretty much the Joker of YouTube, and I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon. But yes, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for coming along, and again, I would love to
I like
know
it.
your
I love it.
opinions down below.
And I've noticed that it's the only songs I can play on certain musicals you can only play on stream because you won't get copyright struck. You won't get blocked in countries, you won't get demonetized. It's very interesting to figure out. No, thinking about it. Jason technically is like Odysseus in a way.
I'm obviously right about everything.
Life seems to hate him.
And I think this is coming out after Thanksgiving, but regardless,
He got killed by the Joker with a crowbar. He got blown. Well, he got hit by the crowbar. He blew up.
Because I think it's now December. Bye bye.
Scientists and engineers that support the next mission to Mars.
Oh, how did my art journey start out? It started out pretty normal, like how everyone else starts out. It started out like normal kid drawings. I started drawing like full time in like 4th or 5th grade. I'm 19 now. We used to have the noodle arms. We used to have no shading ability.
Horror games are often lauded as the most immersive, most terrifying medium for an audience to experience.
On my Instagram, I have a lot of.
No longer relegated to an outside observer, we are placed directly in the hair-raising scenarios and given complete control. Our decisions have consequences, and that creaking footstep came from behind us. That monster is chasing after us. But that's not really true, is it? In the end, the player is still protected by another barrier of safety. Those piercing red eyes don't really see you, they see the character in the game. Nothing can follow us out into the real world. The reality is, as long as we've been playing, we've always been safe. But what happens when the game really does see you? When the horror it employs isn't just polygonal monsters, but the game itself is your antagonist, not the character, you. When it breaks the rules, tricking and sabotaging you, using the mechanics of the game itself to terrorize you. When it lifts the virtual veil,
Oh, I watch videos in the background. I watch like Einabber and like horror shit in the background a lot. hear random shit in the background, it's probably me watching YouTube. Hello, I am in KX.
Lost in Vivo is one
I
of my
don't like,
favorite horror games of all time.
certain
Ever since I
horrors.
first played it in 2019. Created by prolific developer Akuma Kira, the game is more than just a skillful and spooky homage to early survival horror. It's a unique transmutation of the genre, which commits fully to
I don't
breaking
watch
the veil of
too,
separation
like,
between the
gory
game
of a
and the
horror.
player. Something which many horror games
I,
will
like,
poke at
hate
once or twice, that Lost in Vivo makes a regular matter of its game mechanics,
certain things,
terrorizing the player both within and outside
very-
the environment of the game. To be clear, what I mean by this distinction
I'm very
is the difference between the
certain
game
things I
world
used to
and
watch,
the
I
real
can't
world.
watch
Things
anymore.
like monsters or
So
story
I'm
moments
very
are things that
sensitive.
exist within the world of the
Because
game,
sometimes I'm
and is where
very,
most horror games put their scares.
very sensitive to
Things in
things.
the real world might be menus of the game, on-screen hints and text, and the game's internal files, or even just views in front of your computer controlling the character. Stuff which exists outside of the canon.
Yeah. I can be very squeamish, and I hate watching, like, certain things. I cannot read well. I only understand
that barrier
English.
between the artifice
I'm
of the
so
game
sorry
world and the
for
real world is most often
you,
described
I
as something
can't
like the fourth wall.
understand
And games like Lost in Vivo
what
delight
you said. I only speak
and there are
English. I'm
some
so
others
sorry.
in this genre, such as the influential
Hey,
pixel
I'm very
horror,
squeamish when it
I'm
comes
Scared,
to
or
horror
psychological horror,
sometimes.
dating sim, Doki Doki Literature Club. But
I
Lost
don't
in Vivo,
like,
despite its niche success, has remained relatively under the radar, and I think it occupies a unique position.
What is it? What is it again? What is it called again?
As both a meta horror gem and a fully cohesive traditional survival horror experience. I last discussed this game in a terrible
when I was
video half a
in
decade
high
ago,
school,
which I just
not high school,
be my
I was
final
in
word
middle
on this
school.
project.
I was a
So today,
soprano.
I'd like to take a much more
So I
in-depth
might be
look
an
at Lost in
altos,
Vivo and examine
or like
how it married
between an
both its
altos and a
reality-bending meta
tenor.
elements and more traditional
All
horror
I know is that
gameplay
tenors are like
comprehensively
in
explore
my
its themes
when I was in
of
middle
trauma,
school,
mental illness,
they
and
were like
overcoming adversity.
boys.
So,
As far as I'm
let's
aware, they
get
were
lost.
boys.
So,
And just
how are
like
you?
you,
Do
I'd
you
be
feel these sessions are still
surprised.
helping?
Selfish and prideful in vain. Unlike you, each time someone died, I'm left to deal with the strain of idol that a goddess can land. Cause I never sleep at night, behind you, saw you as a friend. Now I'm done this way, the route of the head now this way. Don't make your mind this way.
As of yet unspecified mental health.
I shouldn't have been a soprano.
Not uncommon for a horror protagonist. As we
Thank you. I shouldn't have been a soprano when I was in middle school.
Gently at first, but becoming more torrential.
At all, actually. I could barely hit the high notes on a bad day, but on a good day I could hit the notes. I just get very sick a lot in like changing of seasons. I have not been in any place. I just used to be in choir. Claim you're so much wiser. Your life spent so long, alone.
Our dog down an open storm drain. Rushing to a nearby manhole, we descend into the tunnels beneath the road in search of our dog.
One day I'd understand. One day, not today. After all, you're just a man. Is that where you're only at this way? This way.
Now the
Rolling door. Here, this is my goodbye.
in search of our lost pup, navigating by whistling and
Here,
listening to the
this
direction
is
of
my
her distant
goodbye. My
Following the sound
goodbye.
into a series of maintenance halls, we get our first
Here,
bit of
this
protection,
is my
a sledgehammer.
goodbye.
This does make me feel a little safer. Within these various
This is
concrete
my
rooms, we find sleeping bags,
goodbye.
naughty meat-filled televisions, television sets, as well as notes left by
Oh, where do
whoever
I
it is
work?
that set up shop down here. There's not much
I
on
am not
TV
comfortable with
nowadays,
like
so I thought I'd
talking
make
about
my
where I
own show.
work.
Some horrid, putrid
It
thing
is-
kept coming by to watch, so I would just pretend to be
It's not
asleep
really,
until
like,
it passed. But I think it knows I'm
anything
awake.
bad.
I
I
think
do
it's
work for like a
watching me,
well-known
not the
corporation.
show on the TV. My eyes are
I just don't like
useless.
talking
All
about
they do
where I
now
work
is sting and
on
show me
stream.
stuff that
I
can't
just
be
like
real.
I just tell
That
you.
rancid thing wants them, and I say, let it have them.
I
would
don't really
prefer
like
not
talking
to run
about where I
into
work
this
because I like to
putrid
keep
thing that takes
things
eyeballs,
separate in
so
case
let's find
people
this
from
dog
my
as
work
soon as
accidentally
possible.
find me. It's okay. Just a privacy thing. I work for a corporation.
I've played this game before. I knew it was coming, and it still scared the shit out of me. The
I
man
work
in the
for a
hoodie is
really
missing
well-known
his eyes,
chain.
seemingly the
I just
author
like to keep
of the
things
notes.
private
I
sometimes.
suppose I should feel relieved that he's not a threat anymore, but
The
all I can think about now is whatever it is that took his eyes down. Our search comes to an end in this
Wish
moment,
we
where we
never
find our
seen
dog happy and healthy.
before.
I guess that's the
The
end. Oh shit, I guess it did
storm.
go back. As our dog is dragged by some
It's okay.
invisible force into a hole too
You're
small
new
for us
to
to
like
follow,
how
we
I
are once again set
new to my
loose,
streams, so
wandering
I
deeper into this
understand if you didn't know. Like I don't
music at this
answer
point,
like
and at
personal
various
questions like
points throughout
that.
the game, is absolutely heart-pumping. Despite seeing no visual evidence that I'm being chased, the music makes me feel like there's something right on my heels, driving me forward without a moment's rest. The way it fades in and
So
out in
that
volume
we
gives the feeling that something
prevail.
is approaching fast, getting right behind you, then lagging back, only to pick up again. Incredible sound. Eventually, we find ourselves at an unearthed threshold, an opening just barely wide enough to roam, with the words all over it. Ye who enter here. Of course, a reference to the message written above the gates of hell, Dante's Inferno.
Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month.
Dante's Inferno. Also nearby, we find a door with the name
I kind of just grew up following the golden
This in
rule.
reference to the ferryman of the
When I was younger,
Styx
so
of
it's just
Lisbon.
keep
The
applying
message is pretty clear. We're
it to
in for some crazy shit. At the other end of the tunnel, we reach a rusty
how I
decorated with candles,
think
giving the
it's.
impression of an almost ritualistic abyss. Gone inside, we find ourselves in yet another
Fun little fact, I almost got paid for someone painting one of my drawings. But I did not trust the person. I didn't know who this person was. They kind of just told me who they were and tried acting like it wasn't a big deal that I was.
Something's better than nothing. Turning a corner, a shape appears from the fog.
I have tried traditional art. I just don't really like it
As we approach,
as much. Because if I mess up in like the line art stage, I can't undo it like I can
Suddenly, we're in a
in
peaceful,
here.
almost shrine-like room, an angelic statue peering down before an altar. Here we can save the game. Though it's tempting to stay in a safe place like this, our journey must continue eventually, leaving the comfort of the safe room. The brick drain tunnels lead us up and out into an underground subway station, and it's here we reach the second part of our journey. Ads and artworks adorn the walls of the station, but most noticeable are the wide assortment of bleak weight loss ads. Feels almost dystopian. When we arrive at one of the platforms, the train is just beginning to roll away, and from inside, our dog barks, accompanied by a robed figure with glowing yellow eyes. With the doors firmly shut, we're left with no other option but to watch as our dog slips through our fingers like a kid. Who is this thieving pet? Oddly,
Yeah, I don't actually use PC. I use a tablet. I just draw.
Hop on and continue our pursuit.
This is all mobile.
Inside the compartment, someone has left a note. February 14th, 2007. I don't want to go. I just want to stay on this train. I want to stay in the dark where no one can see me. February 14th, 2007. Isn't that the last seen date on Jane Asparagus missing poster? I wonder if we'll run into her now. There's a scream, a crash, and a sound like bones cracking from underneath the train. The car slowed, then come to a stop, powering down. Looks like we'll have to continue on foot from here and see if we can get this train going. Luckily, we find another station not far down the tracks. It's also here we find our first tape player, which we can use to play something we already have in our inventory. Lost Tape 1. The lost tapes are short playable departures which we can find throughout the game in various places. On the tape, we find ourselves in a rusty
Have fun in the
metal
streams.
room filled with
You have a good day or
dogs,
night.
cages, counts, the sounds of howling,
Whatever the time it is in your time zone. Bye-bye.
our dog is here, locked in one of these cages. Using bolt cutters to break her out, we run for the door before the tape ends. According to the wiki, this is the only tape in the game which is fully canon to the mainline story of the game, though their source for this is no longer available. Exactly what this tape represents isn't entirely clear to me at the moment. Is this where we first found our dog? Is this a warning or nightmare as to where she's headed if we don't rescue her in time? For now, this brief glimpse is all we know. Inside a maintenance office, we find notes left by whoever used to run the station. Apparently, the place is underfunded, falling apart, and the best thing you can do is send any incoming trains right along to the next station. We do get a small bit of advice seemingly left for their successor in this position. When the power goes out on the tracks, you have to reboot the whole system. In order to do that, go to each section and turn off the breaker boxes. Then come back here and restart the system. I've barely been able to keep the power on, so that's about all the advice besides quitting I can give. So, there's our goal. We have to make our way to each of the 3 breakers around the station, flip them off, and finally reset the master switch back here. Can't be that hard, right? As we make our way forward, we continue to find pages left by Jane Experiment. February 14th, 2007. I want to make a decision. I want control back in my life. I want to matter. Everybody just makes choices for me. Maybe I'll find someplace where I can be happy. Someplace dark without people to remind me how ugly I am. I'm sorry. She ran away. I'm still here. As a brief side note, I want to point out a subtle but really effective piece of game design in this area. The doors to the various other parts of the station all look pretty similar, and it's easy to get turned around. The platform near the office with the master switch is sort of the main home base you'll be returning to throughout this segment of the game, as this is where our save room is. And you might notice that there's this broken, buzzing escalator right here. The creaking sound it emits makes it really easy to identify which door leads back to the save room and master switch, acting as a diegetic marker to keep you oriented. The game does a good job generally of keeping you oriented in relation to your closest save room, but I think this is one of the more interesting ways it does this. Anyway, now this section isn't explicitly linear, so we'll just follow how my playthrough went, which, it's my video. For breaker 1 of 3, after finding a lock-picking set, we have to push through this turnstile, effectively blocking us from turning back. The only way back now is north. There's 2 doors to choose from, but I peek into the one that's unlocked first.
To take the world, and that's what you're gonna do.
First. Hate that. Let's try the other one. So we picked the lock, and hey, there's the breaker. That was easy. Oh yeah, and each time we reset a breaker, we have to make our way out of that part of the station in the dark. Oh shit, forgot we can't get out this way. Instead, we are forced to go through the scary door and loop back around through these dark concrete halls. And we are being pursued. A strange, mangled figure hunts us through this place, floating through walls unimpeded. We can briefly slow its advances with our weapons, causing it to transform into a body bag, but this is only temporary, as it will return from the walls soon after. To make a bad situation worse, we run into a series of locked doors which we have to pick at a painstakingly slow pace. Finally making it out the other side, we escape. For now.
Oh my god. I legitimately was, shaking when I seen that last bit. Oh my god.
This chase sequence is so...
Clear notifications.
So simple, but so well designed. The lock-picking set at first seems like a strange choice of item. Mechanically, wouldn't a key work just the same for the door here? But its use is completely transformed once we get into the chase itself, ratcheting up the tension as we are forced to stop dead in our tracks and wait to undo the lock as a monster is breathing down our neck. Then add the fact that it has a chance to fail, slowing you down even further. It works as a perfect additional stressor, along with giving the sequence a bit more mechanical nuance than just run down the hallway. Anyway, let's get back and save. Breaker 2 of 3 is actually fairly simple. Hit the switch and run back. Not much else to it, but we can find some relevant information along the way. Another note from Jane in the bathroom, reading November 15th, 2006, 5 months before she went missing. I don't know what to do. I'm not happy. I'm so ugly, and everyone treats me like I'm not even real. They're so pretty and perfect, and they all have friends, but I'm just here. We also find a baby changing station covered in blood. What happened here? Additionally, there's another note left by the ex-employee. It was a slow day when it happened. Only 2 trains even stopped here, and I didn't see her until it was too late. I heard her sobbing as she walked down the tracks. I wanted to run and save her, but I could hear the train. I just waited and listened. She must have regretted it at the last moment, because I heard her scream. I can't stop her. She passes through the walls. All I could do was wait.
Business is mercy upon itself.
That's Jane. And that what we heard on the train arriving here was an echo of what is described in the snow. We flip the switch and run back. Jane chasing us all the way, just like before. For the final breaker, we have to make a bit more.
I'm good, how are you?
We have to walk down
Well,
the tracks of
righteousness,
another
that's
platform,
what I
passing
hate.
through the cabin of another stopped train. It's here that we can pick up a shotgun. Finally, some real firepower. A Riot Police issue shotgun, it only fires rock salt rounds,
good.
so I don't think it'll do much damage. Well,
I saw you
that being
just
said,
killed
at close
myself.
range, this is
But
pretty
no,
and a welcome
you
addition. Passing through
far
the
too
train, we enter
nice.
into
It
another
has
phase
a
of
price.
the door to the
I'm
breaker
just
is locked,
going
but we
in
can
the
hear
ice
up
now.
ammo, stack
Revealed
another
your
one,
name.
here, and
You let him
another settle.
live. And
This
you
whole
ain't got no
area
mercy
is a
left to
little
give.
confusing
So
to navigate, and it's easy to get
this
turned
is
around, so I
mercy
make sure to
upon
memorize
us.
an escape route before flipping the breaker. Just as before,
Business is
when the lights
mercy
turn out,
upon
Jane begins to pursue,
us.
and on our way out, some of the doors have become locked, so it's back to frantically picking the stairs. Jane follows us all the way out through the train onto the platform until we finally reach the safety of the
Boys
station's lounge.
apologize.
Before we hit the master
Oh,
switch,
thank
let's
you for
take a look at that
subscribing.
lost tape we found.
And I do harm, and only hurt him to disarm him. No
We
pleasure
find
in his
ourselves in what looks like
pain.
a decaying, rusted hospital. Red auras emanate from some of the beds with various distorted, confused, even pleading messages. I am not sick.
This is
Why am I here?
almost invisible.
Something's wrong with
Hold
me.
your
We
heart,
come upon more
your
rusted
heart is
cages,
dark.
which also contains
This is mercy.
From here, we enter a large pipe
Captain,
wall, then fall into a
Captain,
massive open room with
Captain,
giant, twisted,
Captain,
floating everywhere. Tape
Captain.
starts, then ends. Now again, seemingly after the first tape, the rest are not particularly important to the main story of the game, but they're absolutely worth playing, and they add a lot to the atmosphere of playing the main game. Anyway, let's get that train started and out of here. Flipping the master switch, everything seems fine. Alright then, let's go. Jesus, I guess I should have guessed. Still, I think it's a pretty genius move to change her sound
you.
effect here. At this point, you're
Yeah.
expecting the music and accompanying sound effects from the previous chase sequences. So hearing this new
All I
thing
gotta
sets
do
off an
is open
entirely
this
different part of
bag.
the Blizzard brain. Anyway, our train arrives at the station and it didn't look that rusty before, did it? The doors open directly in front of a pair of shoes that weren't there before, with a yellow ribbon tied to them. A yellow ribbon like this can represent, among other things, suicide awareness. Boarding the train, we find another note left by Jane from the December before she disappeared. He makes me feel so much better sometimes, but I worry that I'm not good enough. He wants me to lose weight, and I'm really trying, but it's so difficult. I look in the mirror, and nothing's changed. Jesus. It's on this train ride. The game gives us a little more of a taste in how it plans to fuck with us from here on out. Hello? at our next stop, Grand Bolim Avenue. Very subtle thematic naming. From here, we really have two options.
So much
One
left
door
you can
forward is blocked by some
endure.
kind of puzzle with these eerie rotating heads, and another is covered in some kind of thick slime. Luckily for us, there's a conveniently placed jug of acid just beside it. Let's just haul this thing over to the slime-covered floor and... Well, there's our first game over. Restarting in the spawn room, let's take another look at this puzzle. Oh, the room is now filled with these horrific mirrors which ambush us as we enter and take quite a lot of bullets before they go down. And over by the slime door, we find our own body dissolved into a pile of flesh. But it seems that splash of acid from us falling was enough to melt the slime on the door, too. So that's nice. This, to me, is the first instance of Lost in Vivo really showing its hand in just how much it's willing to bend the rules and fake you out for its scares and mechanics. This death was inevitable and actually necessary for you to progress, and you literally end up finding your own body. From this point onwards, you have no idea what to expect. Case in point, this next section. Through the slime door, we can hunt down a series of notes which give us the hints needed to solve the rotating heads puzzle. All poems describing different people meeting their ends by their own hand. To get to them, however, we must once again navigate a series of dark train tunnels on foot with trains stuck within them. At least, what seem like trains, until... the way that thing just sped up is crazy. Right at the end. Got my heart going. And now we can't even trust the inanimate objects anymore. Also in this area we find an old kitchen knife, which can be used as a faster melee alternative to the sledgehammer, with the caveat that it has a lower damage and lower effective range. Still good to have. There's also another note from Jane. I don't know what to write. I'm not sure if it's good or bad. I don't know if it makes me happy or sad. I think we're going to have a child. Making our way back to the headroom and unlocking the door with the hints we were given, we make our way to what is probably the most iconic puzzle of the entire game, and a culmination to this entire section of the game. But first, we reach another save room with a note outside. All he talks about is how ugly I've become, how ugly I'm going to be. He tells me he's leaving. I feel so sick. He hates me now, and I have all this responsibility, all because of this parasite inside me. I didn't think this would happen. I just did what I was told. I wanted him to be happy with me. Entering the save room, we get the message, save erased. Wait, save erased? What the hell? And I can't even get back inside the save room to reset it. I guess I'd better hope I can make it to the next one without dying. Shit. And now we're back at the very beginning with the therapist text. At least, that's what it seems at first. This time, the conversation is different. So, how are you feeling? Like everyone hates me, and I hate myself. Your sense of self-worth is too influenced by body shape and weight. You don't judge others so much. You have worth, you have beauty, but you're unable to see it. Your vision of yourself is distorted. Then how should I fix it? If I can't fix my body, how do I fix
I'm sorry,
my
I didn't see it
vision
because
of myself? We're working together to fix it. But I will also write you a refill of your fluoxetine. Huh. So the
As you
game is
messaged it
fucking with
first.
us
I'm
once
sorry.
again. This appears to be Jane's conversation with a therapist, maybe even the very same therapist our character sees. Additionally, relevant but not surprising, fluoxetine is prescribed at times as treatment for, you guessed it, bulimia nervosa. Respawning, we are safe and sound right where we left off. This is definitely one of the game's most effective tricks, and I especially love how long it lets you sit in that dread of thinking your progress is gone. Of course, you're on guard at first, knowing it might be trying to pull a fast one on you, but once that text from the beginning of the game comes up, there really is that panic, like, oh shit, is it really gonna make me start all the way over? There's also a bit of thematic relevance here, I think, as we kind of shift perspectives from our character to Jane through this save erase. Now, don't get me wrong, we are definitely still the same player character from here on. We haven't changed literally, but through this next puzzle, we'll see how this character almost acts as a surrogate for a part of Jane's story for a brief period. You'll see. Let's just move forward. Through the next door, instead of a giantly killable monster, we find a room with two exits. To one side, there's a photo of an eerie, distorted face, and the other a more cartoonish, quote-unquote, pretty woman's face. Whenever we pick a door, we go through a hallway that loops us all the way back around to the same room. And if you've made the wrong choice of door, you're attacked by worms as you walk through. As you might have already worked out, the correct answer is through the distorted faces door. Each time we choose this distorted face, it unwinds, becomes more clear until it's Jane, as she really was. In some way, we are working through the very mental struggles Jane experienced herself, comparing herself to an unreal expectation or image and viewing herself in a distorted, just as unreal way. Through our work on this puzzle, we begin to shift that view into one that more closely matches reality. Something which, albeit in a simplified way, seems to be attempting to parallel the therapeutic exercises one might actually go through for a distorted body image. Although I should preface here, I'm not an expert in any of this stuff, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. In any case, we're not out of the woods yet. Down this next hallway, we hit yet another
These are the
dilemma.
palace,
A room
sorry that I
containing
asked
an
this.
apple, a toilet,
Beyond
and a door.
so
Just walking
far.
straight through the door is
You
wrong,
take a look
looping us
around
back and
me
again
here,
throwing
we
things
wound
at
up
us.
by
But
your
when we eat the
door.
apple on the
There's a
pedestal,
seldom
the gate
get
locks our
along,
way out.
welcome,
The only way
so
to retract the
is
bars
to
is by
be
vomiting
sure.
the apple into
You
the
do
toilet,
something to
but
them.
that's the wrong
Me.
answer too.
It was here that you found.
Try as we might, there seems to be no way out. Like there's no escape without either eating or purging our food. The solution to this puzzle requires us to play by the rules the game has been playing by this entire time, which is to say, breaking them. After we simply have to walk through the bars, as if they were never there at all. This is my favorite puzzle in the game. For one, it allows the player to toy with the bounds of the game the same way the game has been toying with the player this whole time, especially since we arrived at Grand Boom Avenue, but also because it is so perfectly relevant to
You
the
must be
story
a
that
liar,
a
must
capsule
get
of
quiet.
Jane's struggles with her
That's
eating
all
disorder. Now, I'm not
consequence.
an expert
Maybe
in
it's
the
not like you.
therapeutic
You
techniques
got
used
this
in
root
treating
from the
eating
ground
disorders,
with
but
my
this
bare
puzzle, I
hands.
can't help but feel reminded of exposure response prevention therapy.
You're not evenly matched.
For instance, OCD.
It's in
And
spot
from what
they're
I've seen,
attached.
at times
You've got
used
people
treat
to
eating
neglect.
disorders.
Yes,
The
I can't
idea is
neglect.
to, in a safe
Now there's a
environment,
turning
expose
back.
yourself to things that
There's
might
maybe
trigger
one
your
wrong
unhealthy
move, now you're
responses,
done
and
for.
help train yourself to sit with those feelings without engaging in the behavior. Now, not to get too personal, but I've gone through therapy like this in the past, and what some people may not realize is even if somebody knows on a logical level that what they're experiencing is one of these unhealthy responses, every part of their brain and body is telling them that this is completely real and urgent, that you literally have to engage in the response or something terrible will happen. And that's why it can be so difficult, but also why this puzzle represents it so well. To the player, there seems literally no other possible option to continue without abstaining from eating or purging the food. What exposure response prevention can feel like is pushing yourself past an impossible obstacle. And it's something you don't just overcome once. You have to do it over and over again to build that muscle which allows you to continue overcoming it, which is again paralleled in the puzzle. Going through the hallway even after discovering the path forward still moves you back over and over before it lets you finally move on. And I should disclaim again, obviously this is not a universal experience and I'm not a therapist, but I think this puzzle was able to portray this specific experience incredibly well, allowing the game's mechanics, not just the right one, to engage with the themes of the narrative. Finally coming out on the other side, we enter a room with a bloody baby changing station.
So much power.
We have three choices. We can leave it, take it, or destroy it with one of our weapons. I ended up picking them, but as far as I can tell, there is no real effect to this choice. Again, I think there's an element here of just trying to place the player in Jane's shoes. rooms. In the puzzles leading up to this room, we are given choices, the wrong answers for which will lead us to pain and danger, and often the right choice is not intuitive. The effect of this leads us to this point thinking, okay, what should I do? Is there a right choice? Things could go bad no matter what I choose. Caught between three difficult choices with no guarantee that things work out through the door. Again, I think a great way of incorporating the player's experience through the gameplay into the narrative itself. Forging ahead, we are once again
God of tides.
the subway tracks. Suddenly, a train barrels towards head-on. It stops by a ghostly figure. It's Jane. She saved us. Not too far ahead, we can find a final note left from Jane, signed to our exact date on our computer. I waited in the dark for so long. I lashed out against anyone who got close, but someone kept pushing me into the light. It hurt me for a while. It doesn't hurt anymore. This seems to tie together all of the previous puzzles that were mirroring Jane's struggles. With our encouragement and help, Jane's spirit was able to release the torment that she was holding on to.
I'm sorry I didn't see your message earlier about who I'm drawing. I'm drawing Jason Todd from DC Comics.
Further below we go. Coming to get you, dog.
But instead,
I'm currently underneath a labyrinthian network below the streets of the city with the creature. And if I have one message to get out, I don't know how much longer I have, is that you should go support me on patreon.com/SaganHawks. There's all sorts of stuff there. There's exclusive videos.
there's reactions of passion.
It's all for the low.
I know once before.
I thought we were going to ask questions like Q&A and on my commentary track.
Much power, so much power, there's no one What things? I don't suggest all-nighters, depending on your age. Depending on your age, all-nighters are kind of bad.
We find ourselves,
Especially if you possibly have school the next day, because it is like,
and if I had to guess,
or in the morning,
because
it is like
to unlock it, you have to find
Friday,
scattered
so
along the way. We'll also find notes from some previous
I don't know if like every school has
like this
is it. The fuck around, there's some are though.
something crawling around. Why keep
And I don't encourage bad sleeping habits
this place even is?
among people.
I've tried to map it out, but it doesn't make sense. Maybe this place isn't as abandoned as I thought. Oh look, I can see the light of day at the other end of this cave. There's something a little weird. It feels like when you go to see a movie in the middle of an afternoon and come out and it's like, oh yeah, I forgot it was daytime. Our first path to finding an emblem leads us straight down the ladder, deeper into the ground.
Feels close behind.
Our dog. Hey, it's good to see you.
Probably.
You feeling okay? Luckily, this changeling can't follow us up the ladder. We still don't have much of another choice. Descending the ladder again, we are able to temporarily fend off the creature by unloading a good number of shots, causing it to scurry away, but it only buys us a few extra seconds. Still, that's enough to grab the emblem and make the escape. One down, two. The other two segments to this area. The second room has us descend each and along with the emblem, we find another.
Younger scream.
But no one listens to me. I can't trust them anymore. They're all just screaming monsters. No one is doing it. It's just me. Why wouldn't you listen? On our way back, the game throws us on the curve. Dodging past the creature again, we make it to the
I am listening to Underworld from Epic the Musical. Amazing.
I guess this thing does not have it is good. Closing the distance very fast. Just up until we make it to the top, and it doesn't follow us. This is one of my favorite moments of the game. One of the best subversions of the rules that is set pretty explicitly. The thing we climb.
Right, have fun.
Man, what a
Keep the world with open arms.
no joke, that moment right there scared me so fucking badly when we were playing the game for this video. Probably the most intense jump scare of my entire life. And it was completely silent. The question now is, who was that strange figure? We'll find out soon. Finding the final emblem goes off pretty much without a hitch. But we do come across a final note. I thought I'd be safe down here. So far away from those monsters above. But even down here, I'm not alone. We unlock the door, find ourselves in scenery that is entirely different. A sterile, fluorescent bulb.
I'm waiting
So, I guess that tabloid we saw on the street was right. There's some
too
fuck shit going on.
long.
The first hint we get is the experiment that we
Love
perform here comes with our first note
to
from Dr. The name is Dr. Feeling good about today, progress continues almost at an alarming rate given how theoretical this all should be. Today we found that small rodents continue to move for almost 2 hours after all of its blood had been drained and replaced with mixed pH 2.12.5 feet. The door to Dr. Brundle's personal office, however, is currently locked, but we can enter the Dr. Brundle's office. Inside, we find refrigerators
You're
filled
dead to close my eyes. I'm gonna dream. And as for those who die, this is what it seems. Probably after I color, I'm gonna end stream because I gotta wake up early tomorrow to get stuff from my hamster.
More of these notes from Dr. Brundle, and we begin to tell the story of his seeming descent into madness.
My mother's not allowed to touch him.
Dr. writes, my dreams have found their
She dropped him.
a dark creature swathed in dirty robes.
She left the door to his cage open. He fell.
Soon after we
She's not allowed touching him right now.
this filthy government's rat work on true work. I will give birth to my savior so that he can silence everything. And Dr. Brundle's concern grows. I'm beginning to question my fellow scientists' ethics, if we can truly call any of this science. I fear we're all stumbling into something dark. With each breakthrough, my fear grows. I don't know how they'll react when we inevitably hit a dead end in these experiments. Today I question the higher staff just on how far they think we can take these experiments. Dr. Luther pulled and brought me into one of the off-limits rooms and showed me something I don't fully understand. Maybe he was playing an elaborate, inappropriate prank. He told me it was his other pet project, assured me that the work we're doing is of great importance. And the picture Dr. paints of this project is not a pretty one. I showed Sotiris to Dr. Brundle today. He didn't know what to think. Just stared at it. Maybe he was scared. Sotiris is moving now, but only barely. For some reason, I can't get him to function while the camera is on or while I'm looking at him. But he changes form in between these moments. In the end, Dr. Brundle seems to reach his breakthrough. We've done it. I have to get out of here as soon as I can. These are creations that should not exist. I don't know if we screwed something up along the way, or if this was the only possible outcome. As we make our way through the lab, finding cells become filled with its leftover experiments.
Bodies.
Caged rats.
A song of past romance. See the sacrifice of man. See the trails of betrayal and a broad final stand. See you on the brink of death. See you on your final breath. Now who gets to make it home alive? No longer.
His eyes are missing. Well, sure. Invalid class. Did I break the game? Hopefully that is
Hello.
on the desk.
And thank you.
Another note from Dr. Brundle. I can't get out here. The halls are full of them. Their worshiping is messed up, and they swarm around because of the rats. Alright, well, what now? Oh, it looks like I can pick up something from his body. Or I guess just his entire corpse? Shit, I don't know if I was supposed to be able to do that. It seems like we're getting a bunch of error messages. He's right here in my inventory, though. Lucky for us, I must have done something right, because the room locked behind a retina scanner is now open. Alright, then I'll take it. Inside, we find more dark hallways, cages, and... our dog! That's a relief. Now we just have to get out of here. Oh, there's another note from Dr. Brundle. The doctor went crazy. He attacked me in my office, screaming about sacrifice. I hit him over the head and he lost consciousness, but I confirmed he's still alive. I'm going to try to get out of here using the fluid tunnels connected to the rad fluid chamber. Flood tunnels? Fluid chamber? I'm sure that's not important. Come on, girl. Let's get out of here. Fuck. At least we still have you, Doctor. Deeper we go. It's here that we enter the final section of the lab, and where we have to part ways with Doctor. When we try to grab another lock-picking set necessary for proceeding, we're told our inventory is full, and Dr. B's body is dropped to make room. Causing another cascade of error messages. Later, loser. Oh, it looks like we can't actually get through this way. Let's go back. Oh, hey bud. See, as you probably guessed from the very start, all those Unity errors were actually part of the whole setup of this scam. This one is a lot of fun, because despite having probably caught on to the game's tricks at this point, it doesn't make that final turn around the corner any less heart-stopping. I even double-checked that the body was still there, because I figured it would pull something like this, and still it scared the hell out of me when it actually happened. I think more than just trying to pull the wool over the player's eyes, this whole bit with his body is meant to keep the player on their toes. It's hard to predict what could possibly happen next when the game is so ready to mess with you in this way, and it's unclear where the whole body and inventory concept is going from the start. It also does a good job of making you question yourself a bit, even for just a second. Like, am I so convinced that the game is always trying to mess with me that I'm just ignoring an actual game-breaking bug? Just more of what this game does best, making you question your own reality and sanity. Following Dr. Reanimated Corpse, we find one final note from Dr. Brundle, almost out of pens in the warehouse by the emergency exit. It won't move while I'm staring at it. When I try to look away, it seems to reappear somewhere within a closer radius. If someone finds this, please be careful, as the creature may still be around. And from here, we finally come face to face with Sotiris, a familiar, ghastly figure, the very same thing that appeared in the mines earlier. Essentially, Sotiris works a bit like Stone Angel, Slender Man, or SCP-173. You get it. If you're looking at it, you can't move. If you're not, it can. It does have some extra rewards, like being able to suddenly appear in front of you while you're running, meaning you gotta have some quick reaction time to avoid bearable strings. Our goal here is to once again find an eyeball for a record scan within a massive cold storage warehouse. The box is blocking our sightline and turning the whole place into a maze. One detail here is that when you're killed by Sotiris, our regular death screen is now replaced with an empty eye socket. Because, yeah, Sotiris' whole thing is stealing eyeballs, basically. He's almost certainly the same guy that took the hoodie guy's eyes, too. Locating the missing eye in a pile of meat, we rush through the door and find our way to a rusted elevator. Let's go. Wait, but what about our dog? Guess we got the bad ending or something?
I'm afraid of the water. I'm trying to safe and sound.
As the gate yet again pulls a fast one on us, we descend back into the ground, deeper now than we've ever been. What new horrors await us? Penultimate act of our game.
Before my feet on the ground.
Splattering of rusty walls and concrete tunnels. The next room we stumble upon is really
Question or two.
feels calm. It almost seems like it's never going to make any sense. Maybe that's to be expected
Giant storm.
before this area
I'm going to evade him. How am I to get home? Should I take
Of course,
the
the
bus
game up
to
to
go?
this point, following in the footsteps of its
High
survivors
and
and
low,
predecessors, has largely
in
been
the
paralleling
place
the
you
main
never
journey, but now,
go. One
more
way
explicitly
or
than
the
ever, how
home.
much of this, any, has been A note nailed to the door indicating this forward seems familiar. If the power goes out on the tracks, you have to reboot the whole system. In order to do that, go to each section and turn off the breaker boxes. Then come back here and restart the system. I've barely been able to keep the power on. So that's about all the advice besides quitting I can give. So we are left with a similar task. Activate 3 switches across the map, then come back here to progress. In this case, though, the switches are a little different. Entering the first of the 3 chambers, we cross the sagging bridge over a conveniently broken electric switch and cooling water. I'm sure those will come back later. Just past here, we are introduced to our first switch.
What are you hoping to accomplish? Without me, you'll just follow. You're pathetic. You need fear to motivate you.
Very peachy. Alright, little fella, enough of your snarky comments. That was easy. It's that figure that took our dog on the train, and it has just unleashed something massive. This is a siren, and will be the main antagonist for this section of the game. Running across the bridge and flipping the switch just in time, we're able to injure it for long enough to escape, but it's still crawling around. In the next chamber, we find the mean-talking piece of brain fairly quickly.
Do you think you're getting better? Does doing this even have a purpose?
Along with a locked door and a page. Scary stories for kids 4 too. There's actually a page of these stories in each one of the chambers, which provide a hint as to how we're supposed to defeat the siren in each one. But the rest I think are obvious enough without needing the hint that I don't need to go over the others. Once there lived a man with his nice old dog. One night the nice man was walking his dog, as was his nightly habit. But then the dog got out of his reach and quickly chased after him. The night sky was dark, just barely lit, so the nice man was filled with worry. But then the old dog yelped and ran inside, as if it was in a hurry. The nice man went inside and locked up. His worries were now put to bed. But then, out of the window, he saw his old dog. But its skin into a shed. Been there, brother. Once we destroy the brain, we're taken to the storm drains. And things control a little bit differently. We've taken the POV of our dog, replicating the sections of the game where we whistled before, now the other way around, barking to follow the whistled response of our own. Finally, we find ourselves on the other end of that locked door. Something that looks like a hand comes in, and we're taken back to the main character's POV. And now something, presumably our dog, is banging on the door. We're only given one choice. Do we flood the room beyond? Now, the obvious solution is to take the hint at its value. That is not our dog, it's a trick, and we should flood the room to flush it. But there is a little bit more of a mind game going on. I think, because the game has faked us out so many times at this point that we're unsure if we should actually listen to the obvious answer. Is it trying to trick us into drowning our dog? But this time, that actually is the right way to go about it, because the siren will bust down that door if we don't flood the room in time.
My life, I can't take more risks of not seeing my wife. Go after town! We're ending this now. Your body's back.
The final chamber works pretty much exactly the same as the first. Find the talking brain.
I'm your identity. I'm your crutch. You used to cling to me like a parasite. I know you better than anyone, and I know you're weak. You'll come right back.
And then give the siren the runaround. This time, though, it takes more than one go. We have to leave the siren under a large hydraulic door, trapping it underneath, taking shots at it until it's able to break out, and then leave it running. It's definitely tense, in part thanks to the sound design and the massive size of the siren trailing behind you, but fairly straightforward. Once we've dealt enough damage, the siren is crushed under the weight of the door and something bursts out of its head. Gross. And we've done it, making our way back. The therapist's office has been replaced with a hallway that leads to a dark, rusted gate. Let's dive deeper, one final time. In this final section of the game, we navigate through the most thoroughly rusted and decayed tunnels yet. Through yet another crawling section, we are ambushed by giant roaches until we come out the other end, and are given our
Deep down.
Let's go. Fortunately for these new problems, we are faced with an entirely new enemy type, the these floating corpses whose sound design is absolutely horrific. The hallways deteriorate from metal and concrete to rock and earth. In one room, there are these writhing vines of meat, and in another, a series of open graves. There's a note here, and when you try to read it, it tells us that the text is illegible. But that's not actually true. If we crouch down to get a look at it, we can read the text straight from the object itself. It lay upon my branches, dangling there as a sick reminder of what I rejected. The smug, dead face stares at me, almost grinning, like it's happy. We're back in the slum. The light from the outside bounces off the stone walls, climbing the ladder to the surface. We are met with our God, united, and finally, So, that was quite the journey. And in a broad sense, the general narrative is fairly easy to follow. After our dog is swept down a storm drain, we traverse the labyrinthine network of evil streets, deeper and deeper, from subway stations to abandoned mines to secret laboratories in search of long lost puzzles. Throughout our way, we remnants of the tragedies and traumas which took place around us, and in the end, must overcome our own internal struggles to make it out the other side, reunited. Aside from just the literal events of the story, there are a lot of
Hey friend, in years since I last saw you, remember me. I skipped some songs, but I'm not giving a fuck at this point. See where you've been, enemies closer, your enemies closer. Ourselves. Really songs of fast romance. My hero, all you can need here. Right there, my love for life. My good time. You're a man.
There's also quite a few moments in the main game that may surprise you even after having seen it. Take this as my official plea to support So, with that said, I do still have quite a bit to talk about in relation to the story, what meta elements. Now, the stories behind the various characters and environments we run into are fairly self-explainable.
Circle. And stays on no. And here, there's nothing in here. To love in paradise. The end of time. In the place of mine. Oh, mine. She's kept you trapped in control. Time can take a heavy toll. Come through. Know what I've sacrificed. And I long knew. And let them die. And I hear her scream. I'm not shading, by the way. I'm just filling in his scars. This is part of the coloring process for me. When a character has scars, I like to add them in. Tiny, little, high and mighty. And to love his mother, but there tie of a broken heart.
my opinion is that the core underlying theme of Lost in Space is overcoming fears and obstacles that seem insurmountable by facing them headfirst and enduring, even when these fears are irrational or the obstacles are mentally imposed. In our personal experience of reality, they feel just as real as a dangerous animal like a coming tornado or a monster in the wall. The game explores these issues via our experience of them as a kind of distorted reality. James mentioned our characters feeling worthlessness or reliance on our depression and anxieties. These distortions of the characters in the game take the form of monsters, physical destruction, but the game doesn't just distort reality to the character images. The game subjects us, the player, to the very same distortions, the very same seeming impossibilities which we are nevertheless forced to confront and overcome. For the player, these unreal moments come in the form of bending or breaking the rules and barriers of the game itself, coming out of the fiction of the characters' worlds, the game world, and into ours, where we are in real life playing the video. It happens in more subtle ways, creating expectations of the rules and then subverting them, like the train monsters, preying on our previous experience of the trains in the tunnel as we step objects suddenly coming alive, or the dog which previously seemed capable of flying ladders and suddenly scrambling up high. But it also does this in more overt ways, which explicitly tap on or even bust through the fourth wall with the ruler, pretending to erase your save and lead you all the way through the dread of believing the game has started from the beginning, requiring you to die and reset in order to progress, only to be met with your own dissolved corpse, falsely ending the game, credits and all, only to wrench us all the way back down into the bowels of the beast, adding error messages and strange hiccups so that we question the very integrity of our game's files, only to reveal that it's been a setup the whole time. And of course, an iconic puzzle coming back, requiring you to literally break all logic and assume how a video game even works, and no clue for a seemingly solid object. In doing all of this, Lost in Vivo creates a true sense of an experience in which the only thing the player can expect is the unexpected. But we do not even trust the basic core tenets of the bounds of a video game. In a horror sense, this shamelessly creates a dynamic where the player isn't just afraid of the character's life, but what possible consequences could lie for the player.
Not sorry for loving you. Not sorry for loving you.
How far out is it willing to stretch the dream? But perhaps more by distorting actual reality.
When I was young, and for 100 years, we had no friends but the sky and sun, and I was sure my dream come true. I knew. I'm sorry for loving you. And I said, and the way that you want me to. With you.
Thank you all for watching. Sorry for
Oh, good.
that also it's kind of way back around this time. Haven't been able to back. Hopefully the next one so far. Thank you to my patrons for supporting these videos. If you like them,
Hello, old friend. Want to talk to so
I actually used a bunch of songs in order to
yeah.
so listen to songs, check in the description, and you should be able to stream them on everything. Spotify, YouTube, everywhere. Big shout out to Kira for making some awesome videos, and I once again implore you to try launching for yourself. I like that you see them out and try to go forward. You can still have a great experience even after having seen thank you all for watching.
Change for this. You said everything safe for this. When I get home, bro. Man, waters. Lost. As we're on the aisle, strangers greet you with a smile. I hope that what you must do. No, I keep moving. Nice. And thank you for deciding to be here while you finish up your dice. Yes. Keep your hands close so you're ready to get home, sir. I watch you get closer. And my toe can pass beside the storm. When this bag, you'll never make it home. That's great. I hope you have a fun Saturday. Yeah, it seems pretty cool. I hope so as well. And if they don't, I'm sure they'll eventually find homes with people who love them. I like to look at pretty dice, but I don't play D&D. Actually, one of my friends designed one of their D&D characters. I created a design. I gave it to them because I had nothing to do with it. I didn't want the design anymore. So I just gave it to them and they made it into a D&D character. I bet it is fun. I kind of just don't play a lot of things that are popular because they're popular. It's most likely that people who my street, I used to be a huge AFMO fan, so yes, I do know what my street is.
That's the first request. The second thing is, can you use this ad break? Yes, this video has actually been sponsored and brought to you by CyberGhost. Okay, yes, folks, today we are going to be speaking about the
Yeah, I used to be a huge Afmo fan when I was younger. Yeah, it's not like the people, like the thing itself I have an issue with. I know if it's very popular. I don't have the time. And I also do not know if, like, I will re-interact with some people who harmed me. I'm sure D&D is very cool. But I'm concerned about reintegrating into something people who harmed me and have never apologized for harming me are in. So I try to avoid mainstream things as best I can. So I don't have a chance of interacting with those people again. And so they don't have a chance to try to spread false rumors about me again. I'm just going to be honest, I might just try it one day. I might try it one day. I don't fully know because I am trying to avoid certain things that could possibly have me interacting with people who harmed me, and I don't really want to interact with those people again because they really did harm me. And no offense to people who play D&D, the people who harmed me, they were really bad people and got me out of a lot of random spaces because I was scared of interacting with them again. I'll suffer now. Back you. Every night, I know what you've done. I think they won. I never thought that we would do sun. I never thought it'd come to this. Just know, be here when you're done. River can string, my husband's so bow to 12 oxes cleanly. And the king down at the throne with me as his queen. Yeah, boy. Why we go with love? 'Cause I need hey, I never thought that it was like this. Just know you were waiting, waiting. I chose the guide. Okay. My Wi-Fi is back. Let's wonder for how long.
Oh, sorry, no. Next part is this. People are anxious just before Christmas. That is your point. Now, it's not a good point. It's something that was like this. And that had my motivation. I'm getting markets. I don't know how to say it. Just so I don't want to. And it's not really like it's actually shown. That's, again, it's just like what you see, that's really nice things. That's it. That's strange. So, yeah. It's not really strange. It's no doubt about it. Yeah. Now it's kind of like they're like, so it's nice when I have anything to do with my that's fun.
Oh, bless you.
It's just so based off the fact that, like, I think I guess kind of that is kind of suggests that particularly I have to say, but yeah, I'm feeling like yes, what people are actually don't think like pretty simple. So, when we're away,
I'm gonna pause real quick. Myjak.
guess that's what we still have left over like that. Not very upset about this. It's some of these things you bring up to mention on the like, no guys, that was me joking. The film on the face was free and I think that was honestly, I actually probably shut that. You know, doing that, and maybe you know, but again, I kind of wish I could do it. Sadly, I don't want to do it. But yeah, speaking of making money, you know, you see all the stuff, less money for and this actually does relate to a lot of things that we did discuss about California. Because yeah, in 2021, confirmed that they have monetary bills. Why are you part of the program and policy by enabling child safety, but animals first. It's not bad to be able to see on the management to make money on music, even if like some part of 2021, but it's not really January 2021. The fact that he was still able after like this year after the tax situation and the FBI investigation into over to them like, oh, well, maybe we should do something about it. He was, you know, it's like, I really wouldn't be surprised that, you know, he's still NFT and fake that with it. It's like, I don't know, he was fine. Honestly, I think that experience this he's still playing that word every man. Not even says, you know, research. It's starting so big for the fun. Oh god, it's honestly one of the more sad things that I've ever had in society. I'm just sure it's not really good for like that. Honestly,
Okay, I'm gonna end stream here. I'm gonna end stream here. My tablet is at 31%. I want to put it on charge. This is all I'm gonna get done for the night. I have to get up early in the morning. You guys have a good day or night. See y'all next stream. Bye bye.